Today I'm going to be inoculating logs with mushroom spawn to grow mushrooms just like these. These are shiitakes, and honestly, they're a little too far gone. I didn't realize that they were fruiting right now. We're going to do some more shiitakes and then a few oyster mushrooms. And for my log, I'm going to be using this sycamore right here, which I cut down yesterday. You want relatively fresh logs because once a tree is cut down or comes down in a storm, all around it are fungi that are just naturally in the environment, and you don't want those colonizing the log. So you want a log that is only a few weeks old. This one I cut down because it was in the way and ultimately wasn't a great tree for this space. I love sycamore trees, but just not right next to my garden. And when you're picking out your logs, you also want to make sure that it's the appropriate type of tree. This right here is a maple tree and would have been good, but it was cut down almost a year ago, so not a good tree for growing mushrooms. The mushroom spawn that I'm using, the plugs, are from a company called North Spore. I've got a link down below, which I believe gives you $20 off if you're interested in trying them out. But they have an excellent chart that lists all the different mushrooms that they have and the best trees to use. That's why I know that sycamore should be a perfectly fine tree for my shiitakes and my oyster mushrooms. I don't know if you can hear, but apparently my neighbor is also doing some tree work with the chainsaw. But I'm about to cut up the sycamore tree into manageable sized logs, around 4 feet. You don't want them to be so big that you can't easily move them around, especially if you're going to do something called forcing, which is soaking the log for 24 hours in water once the mycelium have gotten established to cause them to fruit more readily, because a water-soaked log is a very heavy log. Now you can cut down a healthy tree to use for mushroom logs pretty much any time, except for spring, between when they start to bud and fully leaf out. This is because most of the nutrients are being put into the leaves and aren't in the trunk of the tree, which is where you want it to be, all the nutrients to feed your future mushrooms. To make the holes for the plug spawn, I'm using this drill bit, which is specially designed for the plugs because it has a stopper so it goes the correct depth and no farther. You can use a regular drill bit and put a little piece of tape on it. This just makes it easier. When drilling my holes, I'm making the holes 4 inches apart within a row and then offsetting rows 2 inches from one another so it forms somewhat of a diamond pattern. It doesn't have to be perfect though. Mine clearly aren't perfect. Now that my holes are done, I'm going to fill each one with a plug with the help of a rubber mallet. Now that the plugs are in place, we're going to seal all the holes with wax. The wax does 2 things. One, it helps keep in moisture because the mushrooms need moisture to be able to grow and spread and develop. And then also, it helps cap any of the open wounds so natural fungi that are in the environment don't also get into the logs. It serves 2 purposes. So I'm going to cap all of the holes and then also the ends. And then if there's any wounds, like if you had to cut off any limbs, also cap those as well with wax. The wax that I am using is a cheese wax, but also I have wax that I got from North Spore as well. The cheese wax is wax that I got last year because North Spore was out of wax. And then to help aid in applying the wax, they have these nice little wool daubers that make it really easy. I'm using a camp stove and a pot that I got from Goodwill. This wax is a pain to clean up, so definitely use a pot that you don't like, maybe one that is only for melting wax. And a double boiler works really well too, and even an electric crock pot, which you can usually find one of those for pretty cheap at a place like Goodwill. And then you repeat the process over and over again. It is nice if you have several people helping to inoculate logs. Maybe consider going in with some friends because you do save a lot of money, at least with North Spore, getting 500 plugs versus just 100 plugs. Eventually, I hope to have lots of different species of mushrooms producing in my backyard because, well, 1, I like mushrooms, and 2, once they're established, they, for the most part, take care of themselves, which is really nice. Once your logs are ready, you're going to want to put them in a shady spot and have them not in contact with the ground. Again, because that's just another opportunity for them to be colonized by natural fungi and not what you were trying to grow. So here I have them on some logs from another tree and brush that I cut down as we're clearing out our backyard. But this will be a good spot for them to sit for quite a while, and I'll just monitor them. If we don't have rain for several weeks, if it gets really hot during the summer, I'm going to make sure to keep these watered and keep them moist so that they can continue to be colonized. And then hopefully, all things go well, by the fall, these will start fruiting. So after inoculating the 3 logs, I'm only about halfway down with this bag, so probably another 3 logs to go. And once you open your bag, you really need to use it immediately, kind of within the first 24 hours. This bag of my Italian oysters, I haven't opened it up yet, so I'm gonna pop that back in the fridge. They're gonna be okay in the fridge for a few weeks if left unopened, so if you get them and you aren't quite ready, that's totally fine. I am probably gonna run out of steam for today, so these will be done sometime in the next week, and I'm gonna wrap these up today. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll do my best to answer them. I am a novice in mushroom cultivation, but I've had very good success with shiitake thus far. Mixed success with oysters, still working on those, lion's mane, and then I've got some other fun experimentals that I'm hoping to cultivate on my property. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Tyler Lloyd, and I wish you the very best. See you later.